arena, and you'll find they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And these are accurate to the millimetre. No, we don't talk about millimetres in the steam world, we talk about fraction of an inch. To the dimensions and the rest of it of the real thing. That's the real thing, basically, in miniature. That's a tiny Sherman's engine going around there. We had that in one of the arenas. It was the smallest engine on the site, apart from the fact that it went out there with a mammoth. You don't argue with these things. You don't argue with any steam engine, it would always win. Timber wagon, basically. They would have a winch on the back. Right, it was actually originally underneath to pull the timber out of the forest and this sort of thing, making a big cut. Crawling around underneath to hitch the rope up and all the rest, the steel wire rope up and all the rest of it was a bit of a problem for here. The separate steam engine up on the bed at the back. Running in here. There's galleries onto a generator on the front, yeah. Perfectly capable of producing quite a bit of power from that generator. The gearing is the same, the boiler pressure is the same. There's the big ones. And whilst the big ones, of course, when they come into the arena, they're just idling around. The miniatures, of course, are actually doing quite, especially, again, going back to that little tiny Sherman's engine. You put the driver on the back of that, he represents quite a load on that thing. They were quite capable of towing 50 tonnes on the road, the full-size ones. There's a part-built one coming around now, still got the generator on the front, hasn't got the canopy on it yet. But eventually it will have, of course. Have you noticed that the engines that are supposed to go on the road have solid flywheels, and the ones that go on farm work have spoked flywheels? So we will have solid flywheels if we don't have steam engines on the road. The fact that most of the motive power on farms at the time was horses seems to pass them by. Yeah, it's nice to have all the regulations. It's a 6-inch version. Yeah, and upsized is half the width, half the height, half the length. So yeah, it actually takes a quarter, and you make an engine that's oversized. When it goes up to about 16 inches, this is enormous machine. The Fairground is referred to as overtype because the power here, all the steam engine stuff, was on top of the boiler as you would get with a traction engine, and the drive's taken down to the rear axle through a very long chain. The drivers of the full-size one found that one was changed complex, so you got the steam engine, you needed a new chain for it. Thinking, of course, that they would say, oh no, we don't have that anymore. But they had to change this stuff. How many links do you need, sir? They said, no problem at all. Actually, you made another one of the overtime engines coming in here at the moment. The only disadvantage really with the overtype is, of course, that you end up with the engine itself and the cab taking up quite a lot of the chassis length of the machine, because it shortens the load space. The centre has got over that by having a vertical boiler in the back of the cab that made the whole thing much shorter, and putting the motion boiler underneath it much the same way as the diesel 2-stroke engines were placed under buses driving chaff cutters and thrashing machines. And one here which you would think, compound engine, which you would think would be used on farm, it's got solid flywheel, so I suspect it was used for haulage on the road, or the big version of it. A bed of fire, so that the draft can come up into the electrical and get the thing going. And so little tiny fires are actually quite very often there'll be a fan on the top of the chimney. Usually scavenged from an old car, it'd be the heater fan stuck on the top of it, the 12-volt battery, give it extra draft coming through the boiler. Still there. There's a full-size one called Mr. Potter as well. My son was at school many years ago, he took a photograph of the full-size one and took it to study science one. It's called Mr. Potter. So that's what it's about. And of course they're all beautiful. And right there with the 3 trailers on the back. Showmen are the only people who are allowed to have 3 trailers nowadays on the road. But the full size of the Challenge engine would very often be going along. It's just a hurricane lamp on the front axle for lighting. Be a filthy light going along with 3 packing trucks on the back with whatever ride it was on the back of the thing going along. The hurricane lamp. Well, how fast did you go? I said to him. Well, he said, that depending on how far it was to the next pub and how close it was to closing time. I suppose it was as good an answer as any. No other the phone overtimes coming into the arena now. I find a lot of the full-size engines, some of them are on solid wheels, solid rubber tyres, others are on pneumatics. Some of them are older and on pneumatics. How did that work? Well, what used to happen, of course, like railway engines, they need to go have their ticket extended by a big maintenance to be checked and they say, well, we can fit it with pneumatic tyres if you want to give me a better ride. So they say, yes, okay, fine. So you find older ones sometimes with pneumatic tyres on board. And there were the 3 trailers on the back, says heavy haulage. But of course you have to remember that in the days of the steam ploughing, the full-size ones would be towing the water cart, the living van, and the ploughs as well. Of course the Matilda, the left-hand right. We always have to be meeting this it doesn't matter at all, you can have 2 rights or 2 lefts working together. This is my face in the wrong way. But of course we want to keep things nice and neat, so we have the left hand and the right hand. If you couple all this lot together and put them a load to pull, you will be amazed on what these things can shift. They are extremely powerful for their size. And there was a story of a full-size engine putting a head down. The head eventually departed behind a bungalow. They didn't get the full-size engine in, so somebody said, well, how about getting the 6-inch? So we got a 6-inch one. And that was doing the job perfectly well, half size. The tractor just leaving the arena there. They used to work very hard. They would full-size ones when we take the timber drove down to the sawmill or whatever with logs on board. They also had to pull the logs up onto the timber drove. There was a whole way of doing that using the little 2 logs running down from the side of the timber drove, and you put it up with an engine on the other side with a rope that was going over the log to pull up on the thing. And then of course they were pulling the timber out of the forest and things that had been cut down. So they're working very hard. A long time. Let's let the local population know that we're all here. So would you like to give us a whistle up on the count of 3? Everybody ready? Get on the whistle chains. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Nothing like that. Pulling the load from one place to another, very often if they had the 30-foot pole on the back, they'd be a crane engine and they would be lifting cars on and off the rides. And then of course they had to generate power to run the rides, and very often you'd have 5 or 6 engines parked next to each other with a plank in between them, and one manic individual hurtling backwards and forwards trying to keep all 6 going at the same time. We had a little competition at home once. How many Mammoth steam engines can you run? It's a full-time job keeping fun. There's one coming now, right now. Let's go stay on the back. Of course, in those days you would have to use the rakes. The guys would be there in their straw hats and the wooden rakes and the horse-drawn wagon. They'd be piling the straw on top of the wagon. You take it down to the stackyard or whatever. You'd have the engine driving the baler, as you see going around there. It's about 7 tons of plastic around the thing, and you go and put it in the stackyard, and that gives you cattle feed for the winter. There you have a typical farmyard cat going around. Anything you use on a farm for doing stuff around it. The baler and all the rest of it. I used to have a guy who used to come round, he had I think it was a 2-inch sentinel wagon. He used to sit on it. He wasn't a small lad, he must have weighed about 18 stone. He sat on this tiny thing. That's the same thing, open the slot, and this thing used to hurt. I don't know how many thousand hours work you're looking at there, quite a few, I must imagine. I thought that was a big section, and you find that was